I'm sorry, but this is not the time or place for children. I must ask you to leave.
The following program contains material that may be offensive to some viewers.
That terminal, try there. This is it.
Do you think you are the one?
All I know is my gut says maybe.
I have had enough.
This is my destiny.
Alrighty, with the gender astronomy basics in the last video out of the way,
The knowledge, so much, so fast.
it's time to get into some good old-fashioned controversy.
Let's crack the egg and say hello.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Could I stop you?
Okay, like I said, I'm going to concentrate on the male to female trans population. That's trans women for short. Trans women are, or at least were, a lot more common than trans men. Trans women are born with male bodies, but they identify as women and may dress and act as women do.
I am a woman in almost every way, except the one that would be discovered if I had to take that physical.
Maybe they've taken hormones or had surgery to help their bodies look more like female ones.
The shots and the pills have softened my voice. I don't grow facial hair, my skin is soft.
And, at least in the old days, many trans women went through years of therapy to figure out whether transitioning was the right thing to do.
No matter what happens, I'm never going back to what I was.
But what about the tilt of their libido star, like I mentioned last time?
Not asking.
Don't be shy.
Not encouraging in any way. Why do I not bother?
There's an old stereotype that all trans women are attracted to men. Like they're really just gay guys dressing up as women or something. But in fact, there are bisexual trans women, asexual trans women, and trans lesbians. Turns out that your sexual tilt has nothing to do with your gender identity. At least, that's what everyone says. So why did I bring it up in the first place? Excuse me, mate. Rewind a bit. Trans women are born with male bodies. I wasn't born with a male body. I was assigned male at birth. I'm AMAB. AMAB, huh? Makes you sound like a whaler. Ah. Anyway, what was I saying? Never mind.
All right, we survived that.
Let me explain. No, there is too much. Let me sum up.
In the United States, the pioneering sexastronomer, that is, sexologist, and yeah, that is a real word, was Harry Benjamin. I don't think he really wore sunnies, but he was a pretty cool guy.
But why?
Give me a second to access.
This happened back when America was all upbeat, clean cut, and expecting to get blown up any minute.
He realized that trans people couldn't be persuaded to change their minds any more than a gay or lesbian person can be forced to become straight. Transsexualism wasn't something you could cure. And because trans people felt miserable about having the wrong bodies, the best way to help them was with hormones and surgery to help make their bodies match their gender identities as closely as possible. Benjamin gets a good rep for that. But he wasn't perfect. In fact, he missed something big. And we'll get to that in due course.
I'll explain later.
Still, Benjamin's compassion and pioneering work improved the lives of countless transgender people. And since then, thanks to decades of effort by transgender activists, being trans has become more and more acceptable.
The whole world has changed before our eyes for the better.
It's glorious.
Who knows what wonders await our crews in the bosom of the cosmos? All we do know is that it's a great day for mankind.
Everything is now awesome. The end.
Oh.
Ignore that.
Something strange bothers me, gnawing at my brain that I can't understand.
Because the funny thing is, whether you think men and women have different natures, or you believe we're taught to be masculine or feminine, some people on each side say that transgender people prove they're right. Each side. And it's weird. Some say trans people show that men and women have different brains. because sometimes we're born with the wrong one and really want to swap teams. But others say that trans people prove gender is a social construct, and we're so flexible in our gender identities because we're all basically the same. Now, I don't know what the existence of trans people proves, but maybe it's worth checking how many there are. Here's some stats.
Do not panic.
Please don't go. Please, I'll make you breakfast.
Well, one set of stats anyway, because this stuff is a bit hard to pin down. Let's rewind to the 2000s and take a look at America, since, as everyone using social media knows, it's the only country of any importance. At the end of that decade, the Williams Institute looked at the handful of surveys that had actually bothered asking people about transgenderness, mostly in California, as you'd expect.
Ah, wow. San Francisco.
And Massachusetts for some nameless reason. They found that between 0.1% and 0.5% of the adult population identified as transgender, which they averaged out to 0.3%. That means that for every 1,000 adults, 3 identified as trans. Or, if you prefer, 1 in every 333 adults. 333. Did anyone hear that? Just me? Okay, anyway, moving on. By the way, as of 2021, the Kinsey Institute still quotes this figure on its website. So let's take a second to compare it to the numbers for gay and lesbian people. The Kinsey Institute reckons 2 to 4% of men identify as gay, and 1 to 2% of women identify as lesbian. That's 2 to 4 guys out of every 100, and 1 to 2 girls out of every 100, not 1,000. So just from these numbers, it seems like there's 10 times more gay and lesbian people than trans people. I mean, don't ask me about the bisexuals, it's complicated.
I can't deal with that now.
That's not entirely accurate.
What? Which part?
In 2016, the Williams Institute had a lot more data to work with.
You can't imagine the wealth of information.
So they had another look at the problem and doubled that old figure to 0.6%, meaning 6 in every 1,000 adults. Or rather, 1 in every 166 adults identified as trans.
And therefore,
they concluded that as of 2016, 1.5 million adults in the United States were transgender.
All right, we survived that.
Okay, so there are quite a few trans people around. Except, hang on, I'm just a humble laycat who can't brain with statistics, but
Something funny's going on.
They're coming back!
Firstly, remember that these numbers are about people who identify as transgender. It doesn't mean they're transsexual, in the old school way of thinking. It doesn't mean they've had the full surgical intervention downstairs. In fact, they might not have taken hormones or even socially transitioned. They just want to. Or they feel like there's some kind of mismatch between their outward gender and their inner self.
I just got this feeling.
If you look at estimates for people who've actually had their cannon or clamshell reconfigured, you get way smaller numbers.
I never met one.
For example, for male to female transsexuals in the 2000s, it was something like 0.005%. And that's just 1 in every 20,000 people. No wonder it sounds like you're a secret agent.
No, that can't be right.
Doesn't it seem like those numbers are way off? Totally out of date? Doesn't it seem like transgender issues are everywhere these days? We all know someone who's trans. We've heard even bigger numbers than those. I've heard estimates as high as 1%, although that seems to include all the non-binary identities as well.
No hard feelings, but I don't want to play.
We even talk about a transgender tipping point.
They're closing on us.
By contrast, if we go back to the gay and lesbian stats, those numbers actually get bigger if you cast the net wider. Because sometimes people get it on with the same sex now and then, but don't consider themselves homosexual. Maybe they only feel a mild attraction that they never act on. Maybe it was a one-off thing. Maybe they really are gay as a kookaburra, but are in denial about it.
I'm straight.
Yeah, right.
I'm not gay.
You mean you're not ready to admit it?
So depending on how you ask the question and what you're trying to measure, the amount of Team Rainbow shenanigans going on in the United States could be anywhere between 6% and 17%.
In my job, to make the kind of money I do, maybe I just have to be closeted.
But here's the funny thing. Ever since Dr. Kinsey's day, back in the 40s and 50s, when some people used his data to claim that 1 in 10 guys are gay, later researchers have narrowed down the reliable stats to percentages that have stayed fairly consistent for a long time.
How'd you beat them? I'm trying to remember.
But with trans, it's been going the other way for 20 years or more.
Oh yeah, we invented polarities.
It seems like every time someone does a new study, the number of trans people goes up instead of down.
Well, something about that is just downright unsettling.
Is it because lots of people were secretly trans all along and only now feel like it's safe to come out? Maybe.
I never met one. At least you didn't think you ever did.
They're coming back! All right, we survived that.
Yeah, but will we survive this?
Do you know what was really bizarre?
The second thing that bothers me about these numbers is a bit more disturbing. You might want to put your seatbelt on, because I'm about to get really serious here. In fact, I'm going to dispense with these silly slides and goofy video clips entirely and just do it with text on a black screen. Wait, you're still here? Damn it. That stats bit was supposed to bore you into going away. See, the next bit of my script is kind of embarrassing, you know, personally. So I was hoping you'd... Oh hey, I just spotted some more stats. Let's keep talking about that.
Incoming transmission! Stop stalling!
You are wasting time.
You're missing the big question.
Get on with it.
Okay, what's the big question?
Why?
Why? Why what? Why are people trans?
No!
Why are you doing this?
All this research.
What happened? What's the matter?
Why is this so important? Okay.
Guess I can't put this off any longer. Why am I making these videos? Because you see, lately I've been trying to figure out whether I might be trans myself. This is where I start getting personal and awkward. Ready to explore Gender Identity Island with me? It's a more mysterious place than you might think.
In that hazy state of mind, that girl's voice, her face, return to me. This is my destiny.
Push that over. What are you doing?
Nothing.
In the transgender community, there's this concept called egg cracking. If you haven't figured out that you're trans yet, you're still an egg. If you're potentially male to female transgender and you're an egg, you're still trying to live up to expectations of what a guy should be. But somehow you're just not feeling it. You have a feminine side. Eventually, you do some soul searching, you add up all the facts, your egg cracks open, and you discover the truth about yourself.
A real-life experiment in mind-control deprogramming.
Let's crack the egg and say hello.
Let me give you an example. Here's how it worked for me. I went through a pretty rough patch back in the Australian winter of 2018.
Look at yourself.
I wasn't happy with how my life was turning out. Felt like I'd taken a wrong turn at Albuquerque or somewhere.
I didn't ask for your whole life story.
Shut up and get to the point!
And I started wondering, maybe I'm transgender. Now, that might sound like a pretty random thing to wonder, but it wasn't the first time. I'd had dreams going back years in which I saw my female body in the mirror and felt like I'd come home. Like my subconscious was trying to tell me something. In 2011, I visited the Chicago Institute of Art and saw a painting of a female nude that hit me like a train. I can't remember the artist and I can't find it online now, but it made me burst into tears because I was staring at my soul. However, for most of my life, these feelings just simmered away beneath the surface, until that winter of my discontent, when I finally took the time to dig down and try to sort out what they meant.
All I know is my gut says maybe.
Fortunately, I had a Wi-Fi connection in my box, so I went online looking for advice. Wow, learned a lot of fascinating stuff.
This is fascinating.
Hormones, anti-androgens, SRS, that's a sex reassignment surgery, you know, where you change your bits. Orchiectomies, that's where they take your testicles out, guys. Fun times. Spiro, Cipro, Bica. I don't know if I'm pronouncing those correctly, but they all sound like brands of ballpoint pen.
This is your last warning about that.
Dead names. It's all like, welcome to the future, man.
I'm seeing the future.
And a lot of people online said the sooner I acted, the better. So I organized a few things, like getting my testosterone levels checked and watching a lot of YouTube stuff about how you're meant to deal with facial hair removal and all that jazz.
Ooh, somebody stop me!
But I still wasn't sure if I was really trans.
In that hazy state of mind.
Maybe my mind was playing tricks. Maybe I was just looking for an escape hatch from a bad situation. Trouble was, the one thing everyone agreed on was, only I could know. Only I could know if I was trans.
Do you think you are the one?
Honestly, I don't know.
I was like, excuse me, that's it. Where are the scientists? Where are the lab coats? Can I get my brain scan, please?
Truth serum. Simple but brilliantly effective.
But nope, not how it works. That's what the webinets told me. Or, as the Matrix movie puts it,
Being the one is just like being in love. No one can tell you you're in love, you just know it. Through and through.
this is the concept of gender identity. My biological sex might be male or female, but my inner essence, my true self, could be the opposite.
I just got this feeling.
That's it?
That's it, baby.
And after all, if you're gay or lesbian, you just know, don't you? Seems like the same kind of thing. But only you can know if you're trans. Only you can crack your egg. Your identity might not even be man or woman. It might be genderqueer, non-binary. But once you tell the world what you are, everyone just better respect it, rather than calling in the gender police. Of course, you can talk to a therapist to try to figure out your feelings,
Would you mind if I ask you some incredibly personal questions?
and maybe decide that upon reflection, you're not transgender after all. But generally speaking, it is up to you. Transgender rights groups say that if you identify as trans, you're trans, whether or not you do any of that optional medical stuff. The same way you can be gay, even if you never actually get it on with another guy. So I thought about it. And you know what? Things started to add up. Had I played with girl toys when I was a kid? Sure did. Tea parties for teddies? Oh, that rocks. Had I acted girly in the playground? Yeah. I used to skip around a lot till the other kids kicked me to make me stop. Okay, I'd also played with boys' toys and acted like a typical boy in the playground, but I'm sure that's not relevant. On I went. Kept on making lists. I always play as female game characters whenever I can. I love books with female protagonists and movies with female leads. I'd much rather hang out with the estrogen crowd than those testosterone-fueled tomcats. Ugh, they're so boring. I love girl cats so damn much. I empathize with them. I'm practically on their side. And hey, wouldn't it be easier to run the hell away from all this toxic masculinity you hear about these days?
I have had enough!
Now, fair enough. A lot of that could just be about being gender non-conforming. Just about escaping gender roles, rather than discovering my inner self.
I've been insulted, abused, I was beaten up in the name of sport, and I've cried in front of the entire office. I don't want to be a man anymore.
No. No, that can't be right.
Sorry, kid.
Wrong answer!
But there was this one other little thing.
Something much more important.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret.
Seatbelts on. brace positions, because it's going to get really personal and awkward here.
My sexual fantasies?
Yeah.
To tell the truth, I'd always had this little fantasy of becoming a sleek and sexy lady cat.
You like sexy?
What? I want to be a woman.
Of course, I still had the hots for lady cats, don't get me wrong, no homo, nuh-uh. Well, maybe a little on the side, won't say no, but there's no reason an androgynous lesbian trans feline can't slink up for a little purr, right? Lavender purr? Oh, hey, Saphists, lesbians, I know this is probably creeping you out, but it's important. Hang in there.
Please don't go. It's for science.
Funny thing, I'd been having more and more of that last thought for a while now.
Oh my god.
About becoming a lesbonic cat. Especially when I got out the full-length mirror and... Okay, yeah, you get my drift.
Way too much information.
Man, you Homo sapiens are such prudes. The bonobos, they didn't complain nearly as much when I showed them this video. Of course, they were too busy to pay attention, but that's just Tuesday to a bonobo. Or is it bonobo? I don't know how you pronounce that. I don't get out of my box very much.
We're getting off the subject.
You are wasting time.
Get over it!
Anyway, these mysterious lady cat longings weren't enough to clinch it. I needed more evidence.
何をした？呼んだんだよ。誰を？エスカフローネを作ったイスパーの一族です。
Oh, Estradio.
So what else do trans people say they experience? Oh yeah, gender dysphoria. This is the feeling that you're, cliché alert, trapped in the wrong body.
A prison for your mind.
And it's really not fun by all accounts. You look in that mirror, and all you see is a testosterone trash prison caging your feminine essence, your true self, screaming to get out, like a butterfly trapped in a hideous chrysalis.
Every day, every hour.
Oh, Estradio.
I thought, well, that's weird. I don't seem to have any dysphoria. Nope. Still feel fine, mate. Still feel okay being a guy. In fact, I decided that even if I did transition, I'd want to keep my, my tomcat bits. No reason to go chopping that off, right? I've got no complaints.
Please tell me it's still there.
And those lazy lady cats, well, surely they wouldn't mind. Not that much. Not if I was really, really, really sure that I was a woman on the inside.
He's a man. He's got like bits. It's just like a strap-on without the strap.
Oh, by the way, that chick in the hoodie just now, totes bisexual.
Oh, so you have a... Wow.
Is this a sensitivity you spoke of?
I have a permit for that.
Come on, you know what I'm talking about. I just get this kind of tickle when I think about becoming a woman. Like there's this siren call from across the fence. Ooh, it's getting a bit hot in here. I'll just be in my, excuse me a moment.
Is that it?
Wow, I think maybe we really do need to get you laid.
Huh. Well, that settles it. Guess I'm not trans after all.
I'm not the one.
Sorry, kid.
But that's just not what it means to be transgender, right? If I feel pretty much okay with my tomcat body, but I just really like the idea of becoming a lady cat because it kind of works for me. Well, if I'm honest with myself, and the entire freaking internet, that's not hype, that's not lit, that's not dope, that's not groovy or rad or flash or singular. It's just a sexual fantasy. Yeah, just a sexual fantasy. Hey, don't judge. Some people are into balloons. How? I'm not exactly sure. But that's the example we always bring up in this situation, so I'm going to stick with that tradition. Now, mate, don't jump to conclusions. These feelings you got might be evidence of your inner feminine self showing through. Really? But hang on, what about dysphoria? because the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual... Don't go all elitist and hoity-toity on me. You don't need dysphoria to be trans, as long as you identify as a gender other than the one you were assigned at birth. You sure? I'm positive, but only fools are positive. Don't you start.
Let's stay focused.
Even so, there was one little problem holding me back. Even if my erotic fantasies really were evidence that I was a lady cat, I said I'd rather keep my tomcat bits, yeah? Well, going on hormone therapy can stuff up the functioning of your pocket rocket, which would kind of defeat the point.
This isn't happening for me. What do you do to get it working?
So the very thing that was enticing me toward transition, my steamy thoughts, was also the thing holding me back. Anyway, without dysphoria to worry about, it didn't seem like a good enough reason to spend thousands of dollars on surgery.
Expensive services.
And maybe get kicked out by my family, who couldn't for the life of them figure out where I got the idea. I'd been thinking about this for a while, but they would be completely blindsided. But the thing is, I still wanted to do it.
Why? Because I gotta!
Even if I wasn't really trans, even if I was just some freaky weirdo, I thought maybe I could pretend to be trans and sneak my way past the gatekeepers. I just decided to hit the pause button for a year or so, until I could figure out what to do about those technical hitches. Maybe wait until someone comes up with better HRT that can keep my tomcat bits working long term. Hey Big Pharma, I want further data on bicalutamide, you hear? And in the meantime, I went on with my cat life. Outwardly a guy, but secretly thrilled to think that I might just be a girl on the inside.
All I know is my gut says maybe.
But just a few months later, I was surfing the webinets, not thinking transgender thoughts at all, when I collided with something big. What the heck did we just hit? It's still broadcasting. We didn't trash it. I'm picking up something on the second wavelength.
Trans women are men. Trans women are men.
Well, that's strange. That sounds like a broadcast from a Radfem satellite.
Home economics means much more than a career.
We have to be subjugated to men?
But I'm afraid I can't fit that radioactive confrontation into this episode.
I am tired of having to always listen to you.
Because then I'd waste a perfectly good cliffhanger. But don't worry, I'll get stuck into it next episode.
We've been fighting about everything.
Aren't you in the wrong place, sir?
He's a she.
You noticed that, huh?
Got some odd anomalies.
Let's think logically.
I challenge you to a battle of wits.
Constructicons unite!
Constructicons inferior.
Danger. Conflict.
Get clear, she's gonna blow.
My scope's negative. Where is he?
It will be very dangerous.
I'm just gonna get some air.
We have air in here.
Till then, this is Schrodinger's Transcat, transforming and rolling out.
Good luck.
Well, something about that is just downright unsettling.
Hey, I wasn't worried for a microsecond.
Then you probably didn't understand the situation.
You don't know anything, do you?
You are wasting time.
We're out of time.
You may fire when ready.
What?
You're far too trusty.
All we do know is that it's a great day for mankind.
What are you talking about?
Nothing or something.